And also, we want to say that we are all eyes on Gaza. From Gaza now, it has shifted to Lebanon, where there was massive, for the past almost a week now, there have been massive attack on Hezbollah, one of the terrorist groups in Lebanon, and the main terrorist group financed by Iran. One of the axes of resistance financed by Iran. They are one of the main projects of Iran. They are at war with Israel for the past 1 year now, since October 8th. October 7th was when Hamas invaded Israel, killed many, and also took some hostages. They raped women. Both the elderly, the young ladies were raped. They took away infants, they took away adults, they took away the elderly. Infants as old as 9 months were kidnapped by this Hamas terrorist group. The elderly as old as 80 were kidnapped by this elderly group. And most of them have been killed. Some have been rescued. Others have been released on a hostage deal with Hamas. That saw also Israel releasing thousands of Hamas terrorist group that were in Israeli prison yard. And we still have some, about 110, that are remaining in captivity for over a year now. In the terrible captivity, they are in tunnels underground where they don't have access to sunlight. They have poor feeding condition, poor ventilation. They've been there for some time. Almost a year now since they've been here, since October 7th. And immediately after, I just want to bring you an update. Immediately after the Hamas invasion on Israel in October 7th, October 8th, the terrorist group Hezbollah, based in Lebanon, began firing rockets into Israel. So they practically been firing rockets now almost a year. They don't have any crisis with Israel, but they are doing it in sympathy to the Hamas cause. They said except a ceasefire is reached in Israel between Hamas and Israel, they will continue to fire. And due to these attacks that is going on by by Hezbollah in northern Israel, over 60 to 70% of people in the north have been evacuated. So you have about 60-70% people in the northern Israel who have not been home for a very long time. Somebody is asking a question. I was trying to respond to the question. So this is what has been going on. And just a week, and there have been this exchange of fire between Israel and Hamas for almost a year now, since Hamas started this, since between Israel and Hezbollah, since October 8th, where they started this attack. It has been on like that for a very long time. And now the Israelis say, no, it is time for us to bring back our northern residents because they've not been home. About 60 to 70,000 Israelis have not been home in the northern Israel for the past year, 1 year now, due to the constant attack, missiles, drones that have been fired into northern Israel. As a matter of fact, they fired almost over 9,000 rockets and drones into northern Israel, causing extensive damage, but unfortunately not much people have been killed, just few have been killed. Most of those rockets were either intercepted by the Iron Dome system or they fell on open space, and the Jews have been so it's just about a week ago that the IDF said, well, enough is enough. I think we have to return our northern resident. As a matter of fact, the War Cabinet in Israel decided held a meeting where they concluded that it is time for us to ensure that the northern residents are returned back to their houses. And I believe so much that there is no reasonable nation on earth, that will allow close to 60-70% of the citizens to be displaced constantly. They don't go to school, they don't do anything, they don't go to work, they don't stay in their houses, they are squatting somewhere, or they're in the hotel, or they're in the refugee camp, all because of the constant barrage of missiles coming from Lebanon by the Hezbollah. And now we must get this clear. Israel don't have any issue with Lebanon. They don't have crisis with Lebanon. You see, Lebanon is a failed state, completely failed state. And unfortunately, the economy is poor. And so nothing much is happening there because their currency is dead. It's worthless. It's just like paper. And the Iranians took advantage of it and began to build up their own proxy, their own, they call them axis of resistance, financed by Iran and also empowered by Iran financially, materially, and even giving them a lot of rockets. They use that also to attack Israel continuously. So it has been going on, but a week ago, as we said, the Jews make up their mind that enough is enough. It is time that we return our northern residents back. That is exactly when they started this attack that is going on now. Their warplanes have made devastating destructions and a lot of damages here and there. We heard stories of what have happened. You see, but what we are trying to say here is that we need peace. We need peace. And now they are calling for 21 days ceasefire. The question I tried to ask, because we try to be fair and just when we are taking decisions. You know, when these Hezbollah guys were attacking the Jews for almost a year now, what did the United Nations do? Who told them to stop? Everybody kept quiet like if nothing is happening. Imagine those 9,000 missiles that were shot from Lebanon. Imagine if not the Israelis have their Iron Dome defense system. Imagine if those 9,000 rockets fell into Israel. They will have turned the whole place to desert. They will have destroyed a tiny country. I'm talking about a tiny country that is not even up to 10 million. Up to 10 million. So what I'm trying to say in effect is that this, what they are trying to do now is something they will have done a long time ago. They will have been able, let's try and be fair and just when we were taking decisions. It will not have gotten to this extent. As we are talking right now, over 600 to 700 people in Lebanon have been deleted, completely deleted, and it's wrong. This is wrong. I know it's the normal practice of the terrorist group, both Hezbollah and Hamas and other terrorist forces, to begin to put their missiles, their drones, their missiles inside residential buildings, houses where people stay. Because they want to use people as human shield, and I think it is time that every reasonable society begin to talk to these guys and say, look, you are putting the life of children, women and children at risk. You don't begin to put your rocket and your missiles inside residential building pointing at Israel with the hope, thinking that the Israelis will not attack those places. No, this is war. And during war, you would like to do anything possible to defend yourself. So I will advise both Hamas and Hezbollah to have regard for human life, to have regard for their people. You know, not to begin to put their missiles into residential building. And now look at the damages that have been caused. You know, tens of thousands of people have been displaced. You know, before this crisis, the president of the IDF issued a warning that all residents that are staying in the southern Lebanon, especially the area where you have the Hezbollah infrastructure, should leave because they are going to destroy it. And you begin to see people running away, displaced people. Hundreds of thousands of people have been displaced for something that is not absolutely necessary. It was not necessary. They have issue with Hamas in Gaza. Then what concerns you here? What are you trying to prove? What are you trying to prove? They don't have value for human life. Now look at the things that have been destroyed. You know, as we are talking right now, over 90 to 95% of the Hezbollah leadership have been eliminated, deleted. They've taken a long walk to the other side. And this thing ought not to have happened. Because to me, my personal opinion, and I think that this whole war, all this crisis, was absolutely not necessary. Remember, this crisis started by Hamas in Gaza. You know, and you ask yourself, what have they achieved? What precisely have they achieved for over 1 year now? You know, you look at yourself very well and you ask yourself, what do I want to achieve by what I want to do? You know, you don't just want to do something out of anger spontaneously, thinking that the whole world will begin to come on your side. Now, what have they achieved by this? You know, we have over 49,000 people or 40,000 people who have been deleted in Gaza, and now it has been shifted now to Lebanon. We need peace. We need peace. We don't need this crisis. This crisis should stop immediately. They are proposing a 21-day ceasefire, but as of today, when the Israeli Prime Minister was leaving for United Nations meeting or Congress in the U.S., he made it clear that they don't know anything about that. That the war is going on. They don't know anything about any ceasefire because they are proposing 21-day ceasefire. And I tried to listen to live interview by some of the some of the Israeli leaders, the war cabinet leaders, and some of the leaders also. And all what they've been saying is that they will not abide by any ceasefire, that the war must go on. And the war is on. The fight is on as we're talking now. Today, we thank God, today seems to be a little bit calmer, but then the Hamas are still, the what do you call them now? The Hezbollah, they are still firing their rockets and drones into Israel. You know, so we should try as much as possible to see, you know, that we call a spade a spade. What is wrong is wrong. Just permit me, let me just take something. What is wrong is wrong. So it's not just about telling Israel to stop bombing. You tell them also, the Lebanese, the Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, to stop the missiles attack. We have a United Nations resolution that said they should be beyond the Litani River. So they should go back to the same place, United Nations resolution, the area they say they should stay, they should move back. They've not moved back. They are very close to the Israeli border, and they are releasing rockets, endangering the life of people. We don't want the same thing that happened in Gaza to happen in Lebanon. There should be enough. Enough people have been deleted. There should be enough. They should tell these guys, please go back. Go back to the Litani River. That is where United Nations resolution said they should remain there. They don't want any terrorist group to move beyond the river. These are the instructions, and I think if it's obeyed, we will not have this crisis. You know, but look as if United Nations find it difficult to enforce it. They find it very difficult to enforce it. And for almost 1 year, they've been sending missiles and drones attack to Israel. Will you tell me one nation on earth that will accept it? No matter how lazy that nation is, that will accept it, that you begin to attack another country for 1 year and they will keep quiet and they will do nothing about it? Please, this aggression will stop. As we are talking right now, the IDF is preparing, as of today, they are preparing their ground troops to enter into Lebanon, to invade Lebanon. As we are talking right now, more tanks, two of their reservists have been called upon to go to the north, and more tanks are headed towards the northern part of Israel, definitely preparing for a grand incursion into Lebanon. We have to stop this. We have to stop this. We need to tell the world community, the world leaders need to tell Hezbollah that to move and obey the United Nations resolution that told them that they should stay beyond the Litani River. They should go beyond that. They should stop what they are doing because it's not going to produce anything. You don't just start something. What do you want to gain by it? You know, I believe all these issues are issues that can be solved through dialogue. Through dialogue. Dialogue can solve these issues. What are they fighting for? There are issues that can be solved through dialogue. Too many people have been deleted, and we want to see peace in that region. Because the way we are going, if we are not careful, we will find out that we will begin to move into an all-out war that will not favor the Jews, nor Lebanon, nor Palestine. No, it will not favor them. Because one thing is clear, the Israelis will fight with their last blood. because we are talking about their life now. This group of terrorists, their major objective, what they have been saying from the beginning, is that they want to wipe out the entire Jewish state. The only Jewish state, they want to wipe them out. That is their thought, that is their expectation, that is what they hope for, that is what they are working for. And what do you want the Jews to do? You want the Israelis to keep quiet and fold their hand and look? The Israelis are fighting for their survival, because it's a survival war. It's not a war of convenience, but it's a war that you must embark into, because the only alternative is that you are wiped out completely, wiped out from that map, wiped out from the map, and wiped out from that area. That is basically the objective of Hamas. That is basically the main purpose and objective of Hezbollah. They don't have anything. They don't want to live together in peace. They don't want to have the Jews as neighbor. They want to take over their land. They want to take over their property. They want to destroy them. That is their aim. That is the only thing they aim at. And it's not acceptable. It's not. There is no way the Jews will sit down and watch them. No, these things are important. The reason why we say this is because there are many people who don't really know what is happening. And when they want to give the news, the press, when they want to give the news, they will give half news. And half news is very dangerous, because half news is as dangerous as bad news. Half news is as dangerous as bad news. What are these guys fighting for? They say they don't want the Jews there anymore. They want to wipe them out of the map. And you expect the Jews to keep quiet and say, okay, you can go ahead. No, they must fight. They are fighting for their survival. America will not take it. Russia will not take it. China will not take it. France will not take it. England will not take it. No, they won't take it. There's no way any reasonable country on earth. The Germans will not take it. The Japanese will not take it. Where they will be attacking you for 1 year, sending missiles, and you have to evacuate people, your citizens, from their homes. Your citizens become refugees in their own country, because a terrorist group in the northern part of Israel have made up their mind that they will continue to fire arrow into Israel and see if they can use the opportunity to repeat what happened again October 7. We should be people that use our brain to think. Somebody once said that the reason why God gave us brain is so that we can think. So we can think. We should think very well and ask ourselves, what these people are doing, is it right? Is it the right thing to do? Is it the right steps to take? We should call them to order. These things should stop. They should stop these missiles. The Hamas should, the Hezbollah should stop it. They should tell them to stop what they are doing. We are not hearing much voice telling them to stop. The only thing we keep hearing is telling the Jews to stop. To stop so that these people can continue? No. No. We want peace, but we also want justice. Because peace without justice is a tragedy. It's a very big mistake. We want peace. Just like the case we're having in Nigeria today. We want peace in Nigeria. But what kind of peace are we looking for in Nigeria? We want peace. We want peace. But which kind of peace, as I said? Where the people are dying of hunger, where hunger is taking them away, people are suffering. As we are talking now, I keep saying it again and again, by next week, by next month, which is almost next week, by next month, the schools are resuming. And I'm telling you, if you're not careful, close to 30% of the students that went on holiday will not be able to go back, because there's an increase in school fees. And how many parents can afford it? The private schools have increased their school fees to over 1 million naira. 1,500,000, 1,600,000, 1,700,000. The private school. The public school have increased their school fees. So one after the other, each of the institutions, both the tertiary institutions, the secondary institutions, the primary institutions, have increased their school fees. We are talking about a time where there's massive poverty in the land, a time where people are suffering, a time where people cannot afford it. So you are going to have a lot of people. That's why we call on this program, because BHF Foundation is trying to see how many families we can assist in terms of school fees in Nigeria here, so they can be able to start school. Because BHF is about the youths. BHF is all about the youths. And so we're trying as much as possible to see as many people who want to be part of it, they can contribute funds so that we can be able to pay the school fees of people that are going back. We're trying to see how we can pay at least the school fees of 100 people, 30 people in higher institution, and also 70 people in various secondary schools, especially children of the poor, children of those who know that we know they don't have at all. We received calls already from people trying to ask us for assistance in trying to see how we can help them to get their children in school, those are in school, to try and pay one form of bill or the other. So this is what we are working at in the next 1 or 2 weeks. The next 1 week to be precisely first week of October. We try desperately to see how many children we can send to school. So what I'm trying to say in effect is that that's what is happening. So we expect a situation where the government again will be able to see what they can do to alleviate the suffering of the people. These policies they brought in, they want to revamp the economy, they want to do this, they want to do that. We've been hearing it for a very long time. This is not the first time. But I also believe that in trying to get the economy moving, you don't need to kill the citizens with suffering, with hunger and poverty, because you want to get the economy fixed. When you finish fixing the economy and your people are dead, what happens? We have been talking about leadership. I remember the first day I talked about one of the attributes of a good leader is compassion. A leader must have compassion on those he is leading. A leader must be prepared to make sacrifice. And so what we want to discuss today is that leaders make sacrifice. Leaders. Now we've talked about pride, we talk about humbling themselves, we talk about integrity. And when we look at some of these things we've been talking about for the past 1 week, some of these attributes of leadership, we don't have them in many leaders that we have in Nigeria. Leaders must make sacrifice. Must make sacrifice. But a situation where the leaders are very comfortable in their government houses, various government houses. They are eating very well, they have enough money, they have resources, they are buying new cars, they are buying new jets, they are buying new jeeps, billions and billions. They are building houses for themselves which they want to stay with 22 billion, and they are telling the citizens they should tighten their belts, exercise patience. We are trying to fix the economy. We are trying to fix the economy, and they are building 22 billion naira house for the leaders to stay. They are trying to fix the economy, they are buying jets, they are buying yachts, they are buying expensive cars, the legislature. So what is the sacrifice? Leaders make sacrifice. That is one of the hallmark of good leaders. Leaders make sacrifice. Leaders don't take the advantage of the fact that they have access to the treasury to begin to enrich themselves while the people are suffering. They don't do that. They don't do that. They try as much as possible to elevate the suffering of the people. The leaders will tell you, we rather do without this so that the people can be comfortable. That is leaders. Not leaders who are eating money and dancing on television, dancing on social media while they are eating and drinking and dancing while the people are suffering, while the people cannot feed. These are not leaders, these are tyrants. These are not leaders, these are wicked people. They don't have the spirit of leadership. They don't. While people are dying of hunger, the leaders are saying they can be fighting, they can be protesting while we are eating and enjoying ourselves. These are not leaders. They should be ashamed of themselves. They should be ashamed of themselves, believing so much that they are so powerful, they are so protected, they have the federal might, so they can use the federal might against anybody, they can arrest, they can deal with, they can do this. This is not leaders. Leaders don't do that. That is not the objective. That is not the objective. That is not the way leaders operate. In a country where you have good leadership, the first thing you notice is that they make sacrifice. They make sacrifice. They ensure that the pain of the people, they feel the infirmity of the people, they feel the pain of the people. They put themselves in the position of the people. That's what they do. They put themselves in their position. They feel the cry of the people. Today I spoke with somebody in Delta State and they told me that they buy a liter of fuel for 1,300 naira. When this government came, fuel was 180 naira. Now fuel is 1,300 naira. I mean, anybody who thinks, anybody who even if you are a wicked leader and you think very well, you'll be able to ask yourself, this will have terrible effect on my people. How will my people survive? from 180 naira for fuel to 1,300 naira. Apparently, there will be increase. Everything will increase. As we're talking right now, house rent has increased, school fees have increased, foodstuff have increased. A bag of rice is over 100,000 naira now. It was 7,500 naira some years ago when Jonathan was president. And now the progressive and the authors of change have come in, and rice now is over 100,000 naira. Beans is over 200,000 naira, bag of beans. So you see that things are getting, on a daily basis, are getting more and more expensive because of policies that they've introduced in the name of reforms, but at the end of the day, the policies are killing the people. These are policies that are making life difficult for the people. They talk about minimum wage of 70,000 naira, that has not even been paid. And just like we've always said in this program, even the minimum wage of 70,000 naira, which they agreed on from 30 to 70,000 naira, which they have not paid, the increase in fuel have made the minimum wage to be completely nonsense. I made it of no effect. Because I told you some days ago that 2 days ago I decided to go to the office. I didn't use my car, so I decided to use transport to the office. And I told you that where we used to go before 1,500 naira to go and come, now we pay 4,000 naira. 4,000 naira. So I'm working there. If I'm going 4 or 5 times a week to the office, 4,000 naira. Times 26 days of the month, and you increase salary to 70,000 naira. So when you times 4 times 26 days, you find out that it's even more than 70,000 naira. It makes the minimum wage of no effect. And you are not paid salary just to pay transport alone. You are supposed to, you have children to take care of. And this is where the crisis of school fees comes in. Because the parents don't even have enough money for transport, talk of saving money for school fees. So apparently, these are policies that are made to ensure that the children of the poor don't even go to school. So the level of malnutrition will increase. And I told you that any leader that has a fear of God in him will do everything possible to see how he can elevate the suffering of the people. Will not be, how are they able to sleep at the night, knowing what people are going through? Food are expensive, drugs are expensive, and the price of things are getting worse per day, worse per day, worse per day. How will the people live? Have they thought of it? Do they plan? Do they know? Have they concluded in their mind? No. What we're expecting is, even if they want to remove the subsidy, our refineries will have been in place. Our refineries should be in place. That was what I was thinking. Yes, the subsidy is wrong. Yes, the subsidy. Now, let me not use the word wrong. They've taken advantage. The corrupt elements in the oil and gas industry took advantage of the loopholes in the subsidy regime and decided to empower themselves and steal and steal. One of them was alleged to have said he's tired of money because he has taken so much money, he doesn't even know where to put them again. They're in all the banks, different, so much money. So there is an avenue to loot the treasury. And so the removal of the subsidy was the right thing to do, but how it was done was wrong. One would have thought that every sensible government, reasonable government, policy makers, the first thing they will have thought about is to fix the refineries. If our refineries are fixed and functioning, then they remove the subsidy. The Port Harcourt refinery now, since this government came in, almost it's going to 2 years now, they've been saying the refinery will start working. And they've shifted the goalpost more than 7 to 8 times. That you don't even believe them again. Nobody even bother again, because it's when you see them working that you believe. The NNPC have said it again, they will resume next month, 2 months later, 3 months later, they will soon resume, they will resume next week. That is what they've been doing again and again, and people are getting tired of the lies. People are getting tired. Because as far as people are concerned, there is, I don't know, as far as people are concerned, they don't believe them anymore. because they just believe that they are liars. And I told you once that when you have a system where the people begin to see you as a liar, they don't believe their leaders anymore. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. When you interview people, they tell you they don't believe this politician, especially since this APC came in 2014, 2015. People have not concluded that anything they tell you, this government of this APC tell you, don't take it serious. Because most of the things they are saying is not correct. They will tell you what they will not do. They just take pleasure in telling lies. And when we begin to see people talk like this, it's painful. It's painful because it begins to portray some of our leaders, not all, as people who are not sincere, as people who lack integrity. And I told you before that any government that lacks integrity has missed it. Has missed it. Has missed it. So they will have done so. What they will have done was to have fixed the refineries. Before announcing that the subsidy is gone, you must be considerate in things that you do. Anybody can sit in the position, the government in government house as president. Anybody can sit in as governor. Anybody can sit as president. Anybody can sit as a member of the National Assembly and announce that subsidy is gone. They will not feel the effect. I mean, we have a National Assembly that receives over 21 million naira. We're not talking about others. We're not talking about constituency projects, which most of them don't do, by the way. They just collect the money and that's the end. The project, they just give one or two people money here and there. That's the end. You know, so when you are receiving over 21 million naira as allowance, as salary, but your salary, your allowance, and everything, and you still have access to funds. What do you call them now? You have access now to constituency fund. You are the governor. Some governors receive over 1 billion naira as a security vote, which they have access to, which they spend as they like. They are not accounting for it. Some of them have received a fund, ecological fund, which they've done nothing with it. They've eaten it. Now, if you're in this position, you can announce that fuel subsidy is gone. Even if fuel is 55,000 naira, it has no effect on you because you have enough cash to live. But consider the man that goes home with 25,000 naira a month. 25,000 naira a month. And it is from that 25,000 he will pay transport. From that 5,000 naira that he will feed his family. From that 5,000 naira that he will buy drugs when he's sick or his children are sick. From that 30,000 naira he will take transport. He will pay for NEPA bill, and light bill has increased. So they just increase everything with the full intention that will choke these people. They want to choke the citizens. They want to punish the citizens. You know, they want to make life difficult for them. You know, they want to push them to extreme poverty, so that during election, even if they give them peanuts, they will accept it, so that they can vote for them. They want to use poverty as a weapon, as a democratic weapon, to continue to remain in power. Keep the people hungry, and then when you give them even 100 naira, they will appreciate it. Keep them hungry, they will not think of any other thing. It's how to eat. And any country that does not think about the welfare of its citizens, you can never have development. No, that's why Nigeria is like this. That's why Nigeria is the poverty capital of the world. Because 95% of Nigerians are hungry, are poor, they can't eat. If they can't feed, how can they think? That's why it will be very difficult for corruption to stop. Because you can't stop corruption under this kind of system. With high level poverty, how do you stop corruption? Or you don't want their children to go to school? How with 70,000 naira, how will the children go to school? They look for a way to take bribe here and there. They look for a way to look for extra cash by committing fraud, by doing one thing or the other. That's why the internet fraud is so common now in Nigeria. In fact, some parents are not even buying laptop for their children to engage in what they call Yahoo, to engage in fraud. That's how pathetic the situation is. that fraudsters are now celebrated. What a tragedy. What a shame. What a shame. Most of the parents are now even buying laptop and internet and data for their children to be involved in fraud, because they don't know what else to do. They just need to survive. So the Nigerian government should wake up, especially the APC government should wake up. In case they are not telling them at all, in case the advisors are not telling, I remember about over a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I remember I was saying in this program that it's time for the president to sack his advisors and his ministers, because most of them don't know what they are doing. And with the report we heard today, the news we are hearing today, is that actually some of the there wants to be a cabinet shake-up, because most of the ministers, they don't know, they are not in the news for anything. They don't know what to do. They just sit in the office receiving money. They are not thinking. They're not thinkers. Even those we call advisors, they are not advising the president correctly. We have all kinds of people, PA this, PA this, advisor that, senior advisor, senior special assistant. It's just loaded with people just to give work to the boys. And each time some of them open their mouth to talk, some of the things that comes out of their mouth even make you more angry. Make the citizens more angry. It makes the people know that these people are bereft of ideas. And if these are the kind of people that are appointed as advisors by the president, then there's a problem. Because people that are supposed to be advisors, advising the president, most of them, when they talk, you'll be ashamed. You'll be ashamed. There's nothing upstairs. When they talk, you'll be ashamed. They say, look, when a foolish man keeps quiet, you will think he's wise. When a foolish man keeps silent, you will think the man is wise. But immediately a foolish man opens his mouth, you will see his foolishness. The foolishness of a fool is displayed by his speech, by the way they talk. Now the way they talk, you could tell, say, hey, this is mumu. When person won't get sense, person won't wise. When he keep quiet, when person mumu keep quiet, now mumu, but you know the talk, he keep quiet. You see and sit down one place, keep quiet. Even though na mumu, you no go know say na mumu. The reason you no go know be say, as you keep quiet so, you go to say na he get sense. You go to say he get sense. Until you open his mouth, now you say, hey, so this person na mumu, and I say he get sense. So when a foolish man keeps quiet, it's better for him. Don't be in a hurry to talk. Because when you talk, you will expose your foolishness. You will make people know definitely that say, hey, this man is bereft of ideas. This man is not mentally sound. So left to me alone, 90% of the advisors of the president should let them go. They don't know what they're advising. They're not advising anything. They lack ideas. Don't make us look like a laughing stock to the rest part of the world. When you begin to hear these people talk, people that are not in Nigeria here, people that are abroad, I have friends abroad, they call and the rest, they begin to wonder what kind of people we have in Nigeria. They will think we all in Nigeria are fools. No. Nigerians are one of the most intelligent people. Unfortunately, we keep having the wrong people in the corridor of power. We keep having the wrong set of people in the corridor of power regularly. Regularly, the kind of people we have in the corridor of power, they are people that are bereft of ideas. They are people who don't know anything. Don't know anything. So, you see, the president should take steps. I thank God for this step he's taking, try to correct some wrongs by removing some ministers and also advisors and trying to replace them. But I want to say that as the president is planning to remove these people and replace them, let him replace them with the right kind of set of people. You need sound advisors for you to be able to succeed. When you as a leader, you are wiser than your advisors, then what are they advising? If you are more intelligent than your advisors, you see, when you say advisors, Mr. President, don't just give advisors to the boys. Don't give the senior special advice, give the position of special advisors to the political boys. You know, let us give the boys food to eat. You know, they belong to our political party. No, this is governance we're talking about. Election is over. Sorry. Election is over. This is politics. Politics is over. This is governance. Once the election is over, they should leave the election alone. This time around, it's not for campaign. It's time for governance. So they should give the competent people They should give them opportunity to work. Not just give advice, give people position that are not competent. That each time they open their mouth to advise, what comes out of their mouth is very shameful. And you begin to ask yourself, who made these guys advisors? Advisors on what? Because by opening their mouth alone, they display their ignorance. So the president should please look for the right people. As he wants to change his cabinet, he should look for people that are very good for the sake of the country. Because for the past going to 2 years now, this government has performed poorly, completely poorly. And please, Mr. President, don't allow them to deceive you. I know you are a Democrat. They will even help you to rig elections so you can prove a point that look at we win. They like our policy. No, they are trying to help. They are rigging the election to make you believe that your policy is being accepted by the people. Your policies are punishing the people. And we are saying that there are better ways. There are better ways to do it. The president has good intention. There is no doubt about that the president has good intention. It means well for Nigeria. But the advisors are not giving him the right form of advice. There are better ways to do what he wants to do now. There are better ways to do it. There are better ways to do it. If you insist that all our 4 refineries are functioning, working optimally, we have the crude, we have refinery where we refine our product. We can be able to know what is the cost price for refining a liter of fuel in Nigeria. Bearing in mind that we also have other 25 byproducts. It's not only fuel you have in crude. How the president is aware of it. Each time they sell the crude outside and they refine it, they turn it to fuel, we have we have over 25 byproducts. What happens to this byproduct? The president should ask them. As we want to begin to give crude to Dangote now to refine, so we can be able to get fuel from it. The president should know that after fuel, we still have 24 byproducts in every crude. So what is the cost? What is the cost of refining a liter of fuel? And the remaining byproduct, who is taking it? Who are we selling it to? These are questions that they should be asked. They should ask them. The remaining 24 byproducts in crude, 24 byproducts which they get from crude, what are they using it to do? Who are they selling it to? Is the money, after they finish selling it, is the money coming back to Nigeria? Or are they using it to put in various accounts in America and Europe and now Asia? Sadly enough, even to some African countries. So these are the questions that we must begin to ask ourselves. And we have 25 products that you get from crude. For every liter of crude, this is what you get when you are refining it. So when you remove petrol, you still have 24 byproducts in crude. What happens to those products? What are they doing with those products? Are they selling the product? So at the end of the day, for every liter of fuel, we are supposed to be paying less to nothing, because the remaining 24 byproducts, when we sell it, we will make up for this liter of fuel. So when they tell you that they are using they are using 800 and something, they buy fuel 890 from Dangote refinery in Nigeria after he has refined the crude. Then we should be able to ask Dangote what happens to the remaining 24 products, because there are 24 byproducts in every crude. So there's no way you use, if you say you use 800 and something naira is what you sell it to NNPC. How much do you use to refine per liter? We should know it. And the remaining byproduct that comes from the refining, where does it enter? We should be sincere so that we can be able to beat price for people to live. You don't need to punish people like this. People are suffering. People are hungry. And like I said, parents now can't even send their children to school anymore. Is it that they want to wipe out the children of the poor completely so that they don't go to school? Is it that the aim of the government is to increase ignorance? Do they want only their children to go to school? Only those in government, do they only want their children to go to school? They don't want the children of the ordinary Nigeria to go to school? Remember, without education, Nigeria cannot develop. They can't develop. Because we need this development for us to become a force. The success of Nigeria is the success of the black race. Let me say that again. The success of Nigeria is the success of the black race. For 1 out of every 5 black men in the world is a Nigerian. And Nigeria would have been the home, the pride of the black race. But the Western world are doing everything possible to see that we don't achieve this greatness. Using the instrumentality of the World Bank and IMF, they will tell you the policy that the government is trying to implement now is a blueprint given to them by IMF. Because the IMF don't care if people are suffering or not. The only thing they are interested in, they give you loan and they make life difficult for you. To punish the country, to punish the nation, as we are in now, what we are going through now. And so please, I've said before that integrity is everything. Tell us how much you use to refine a liter of crude, a liter of fuel. How much you use to refine it? And after you finish refining it, the remaining component that comes out of crude oil, the remaining petroleum products that come out, what do you do with it? When they are sold, who do you give the money to? Sorry? Very sorry, my throat is dry. When they are sold, who do you give the money to? So please, we want to call upon the well-meaning Nigerians, by those that are close to the president. Tell him that people are suffering. Tell them that people are dying of hunger. I know the Senate president said they can be hungry, he will be enjoying. But the message is not for the Senate president. The message is for President Tinubu himself. Because what people say is Tinubu's government. That's what they say. They don't say the government of the president of Senate. They don't say the government of any minister. They should remember that they are writing history. In the next 20 years, 30 years, when they must have gone, what will people say? The man in whose regime people were dying of hunger. The man that succeeded in increasing the level of poor Nigerians. That over 160 million Nigerians now are extremely poor, multidimensionally poor. Over 160 million Nigerians are multidimensionally poor, extremely poor. Over 160 to 170 million Nigerians are extremely poor because of the policies of the government that's doing everything possible to spread poverty. I believe whatever reforms that the president wants to do, because I believe he wants a better Nigeria. And like I said before, there are many ways to go about these reforms. What people are going now will not be necessary if it is well planned. Planning and preparation is everything. Planning and preparation is everything. It is not something you just announce spontaneously and remove subsidy. Where are the plans? What have you put down? That does not make you a great leader because you just remove. Anybody can say that. Anybody can say that, eating and enjoying himself. Anybody anybody as president can say that. But those who have compassion will not say that. And I know that the president has compassion. And I know the problem is with the advisors. That's why I pray that as he wants to change his cabinet, we get the right people that have the right advice, that can give him the right advice. You should not bring in the yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Anything you say, we'll do, sir. Yes, sir. You know, that's what the former Senate president, the Senate president before this one, he says anything that the former president gives to him is the father of a nation. So anything he says is final. He says, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we saw how our Senate president, Nigeria, became not only the poverty capital of the world, even our Senate president, Nigeria, began to owe so much debt. That regime is the regime that borrowed the kind of money that they have never borrowed in Nigeria before. It plunged Nigeria into massive debt. And this is part of the crisis we are facing now. Because there we have a legislature that are not sound. A legislature that cannot cast questions. No. And unfortunately, we seem to be going the same way of the previous Senate president. This same one is the same thing. They're just toothless bulldog. They can't stand up against the president and say, no, we will not sanction this, we will not sanction that. No. And that's why I've always said in this program that we don't need two houses. Just the Senate is enough. The rest, they should scrap them. Because it's a waste of funds. They are not doing anything. They are just wasting money. The National Assembly is a waste. They have no use. They are not doing anything. They should scrap it to only one. So we can have one functional National Assembly. We can save the money for other things. Let's save the money. The money we are wasting in National Assembly, they should use it to subsidize NEPA. It will be more better for Nigerians. The money they are wasting in the National Assembly, they should shut the National Assembly to turn it to only one. And the money they are wasting in that place, they can use it to subsidize energy, because you need energy to develop. No country that will ever develop without energy. That's why Japan, Germany, US, they subsidize energy. They subsidize food. Because you need energy to develop. You need food to develop. We need those things to also develop. We have great thinkers in Nigeria. We are not dollars. We are not empty brains. No. I'm an author. I'm a writer. I've written over 150 books. I have books on Amazon. I'm a movie producer. I've produced close to over 300 movies. You go to BHF Movie on YouTube, the YouTube channel that we are in now. BHF Movie on YouTube. Search it out. Please subscribe. Subscribe to the youth organization. Subscribe to this YouTube. Press the notification button. So anytime we come on air, you can be able to receive it. And allow your children to be part of it. Because it's a youth program. It's a youth teaching. Time out to Taylor David. We'll begin to give the youth instructions that will help them to grow. And so we've been dealing on what I call the how do we call it now? Well, it's leadership, but the components that makes a good leader. And remember where we started from. We started from compassion. Then we moved to humility. We moved to integrity. And today we are talking about sacrifice. That every good leader makes sacrifice. The hallmark of leadership is sacrifice. Sacrifice. The leader will not be eating and enjoying himself while those that is leading are suffering. The leader will not be thinking about buying private jet, buying this, buying expensive thing to make life comfortable for him, while the citizens that is leading are suffering. That is not democracy. That is not leaders. Those are not leaders at all. The leaders are prepared to sacrifice. They are prepared to lose one or two things to ensure that the people they are governing, have a meaningful life to live. Not suffering, not dying of hunger, not having children that cannot go to school because of poverty. And so please, we should begin to review our leadership style in Nigeria. We should review it. Because so far, we have not... the only time we can say we have what looks like leadership was during Jonathan's regime. But Jonathan was a good leader. And one of the best leaders we've ever had in this country was the late Yar'Adua, former President Yar'Adua. And unfortunately, I don't know where good people don't last. It didn't last, but that man will have changed his country. This is the man that when they increase fuel, he reduce it so that the ordinary man can live. Ordinary man can live. But when you have leaders that are in power, and those in the corridor of power don't care about people, they don't care whether they live or they die. They tell you they are bringing policies that will change Nigeria, change the life of the people. When will they benefit from the policies? When they are dead? When will they benefit from the policies? When their children stop going to school? When will they benefit from the policies? When the roads are bad? When they remove subsidy, when they are announcing subsidy, remove a subsidy, they want to use the money for subsidy for other things. They have removed subsidy now, over a year ago, going to 2 years now. The money for subsidy they've removed, where is it? Because we are not seeing it in the life of the people. The roads are still bad. You are not seeing any special intervention to make life easier for the people. They remove subsidy, yes. So where's the money? Can they account for the subsidy money they remove? Before they will tell you they spend trillions and trillions and trillions of subsidy. Now they've removed subsidy. Those trillions you were spending during subsidy, where is the money? Where is it going? What have they used it to do? Do we have infrastructure on the ground? I'm not talking about a coastal road, and that's not what we're talking about. You know, those are elite projects. Look at our roads. Look at the roads. Look at the roads. Look at our roads. Why can't there be special intervention through the money from subsidy? Special intervention in energy, so that the cost of energy can reduce, so that people can be able to establish businesses can begin to work, because you need power for you to be able to industrialize. For you to industrialize, you need power, you need energy. How do you run a company? How do you run a business? The rate of unemployment is getting worse. Because how do you run a business in this kind of atmosphere? How? When things are extremely expensive. So please sacrifice. We must make sacrifice. And the president will lead in this belt tightening. The president should be able to lead. We want to see it that the president has tightened his belt. Look at other African countries. I don't want to mention their name. Other African countries, West African countries. Their president don't move with convoy anymore. There's one I saw on social media that day. He has most of all those expensive government cars. He has sold everything. He's just moving about with a normal, easy car, easy going. Not moving with convoy of large quantity of SUVs. Living as if they are the king, as if they are king of Saudi Arabia, as if they are king of Kuwait. But meanwhile, your country is poor, your country is dying, people are dying of hunger. But they are moving with convoy of expensive jeep. Why are you trying to impress? And you are telling the people, tighten your belt. This economic, tighten your belt. Don't worry. When you finish suffering, you will enjoy. And those in the position of authority, they are enjoying, they are eating, they are living well, buying expensive cars up and down. It does not show in them their conduct and their behavior. When this government first came into power, there was a video that went viral in the first 1 year of the leadership of this government, of a minister, of a man in Canada that was complaining that one of the ministers in this government have already bought 4 houses since he became minister 7 months ago. Just became minister, he has bought 4 houses in Canada. The young man said he has to tell me, look, I will not help you to buy houses again. I don't understand. Where are you getting the money from? You just enter government, not even up to 7 months. You have money to be buying houses in Canada. The video went viral. And as usual, there's nothing that Nigerians will do about it. Because when you have this kind of citizens, when you have this kind of citizens, the kind of citizens you have in Nigeria now, when you have it as a leader, you cannot have good leadership with this kind of citizens. You can't. You can't have good governance with this kind of people because they don't hold their leaders accountable. They always, all they are on is to complain to God, complain to God. Is God your president? Don't you have a president? Other countries will hold their leaders accountable. But Nigeria, they don't. What is happening right now, you don't see it in other countries. Don't just wake up and from 118 naira, your phone is going to over 1,000 naira. It doesn't happen in other countries. Poverty, widespread poverty everywhere. It doesn't happen anywhere apart from Nigeria. Inflation, over 40% now of inflation. It doesn't happen anywhere. And so Nigeria is a very comfortable place for bad leadership, because the citizens don't hold their leaders accountable. In local government, in governors, the presidents, the senators that receive constituency allowance, the governor that receives so much money every month, local government chairmen that receive their own money every month. They don't ask them what they use the money to do. They don't. It's not about the president alone. These other people, ask them what do they use their money to do. From your state, you, people in your own state, ask people in your state, ask your governors, what do they use their money to do? Your money that comes to your state every month. Find out from your governors, your leaders, what do they use the money to do? It is easy to loot when you are in governance in Nigeria, because the people don't hold their leaders accountable. They don't ask their leaders questions. They leave their leaders to behave as they like. They allow their leaders to lead as they like without asking questions. And that's why we keep having this situation we are having. Until we meet again tomorrow. Tomorrow we want to talk about leadership, the same leadership. But we want to talk again about other components that makes a good leadership. And we want to say this as we begin to round up, that please, the government should declare a state of emergency in the camp of the youths. We keep saying it every day, so in case they forget, they remember. The level of court activities in Nigeria is high. 70% of Nigerian youths are now in secret court. Terrible court. Occultic practices is increasing. People are becoming demonized every day. People are joining evil society. People are doing terrible things. There's kidnapping, there's murder. Blood has been shed every day in the name of looking for ritual money. Instead of the youth to ask the government, their leaders, hold them accountable for their leadership, they are using their fellow humans for money rituals. Money ritual is now a daily business. So tomorrow we'll talk a lot about occultic practices and what they are doing, and how you can be able to talk to your youths, tell them to stop. Please tell the youths to get connected to this program. Please make this program go viral. Let the youths get connected to this program, because it's a program that will enlighten, educate the youths, and teach them, so I don't make some of the mistakes that some of us made when we were younger. Until we meet again tomorrow, please stay blessed and do the right thing always.